Hello, this is Susan with Creative Expressions. I certainly hope you had a happy Thanksgiving. Right now, I've got a house full of guests and they're away shopping, exploring, so I'm going to do a quick video so that I can upload for Sunday. I wanted to do some sketchbook tours. I wanted to show you that sketchbooks are not for beautiful finished products. They can be, but their primary function is for you to practice your art. A place that's private, that's just for you, that you can just practice your brush strokes, practice your watercolors, even lay down some collages or acrylics. Sketchbooks are a very personal way for you to practice your artwork and work on improving. I have a couple and we're going to see some ugly art. So I'm laying it all out there. There's some pretty pictures in there and there's just some junk. But that's okay. That's what the sketchbook is for. So join me as I show you my sketchbooks. So this is the first one I'm going to show you. These are both watercolor sketchbooks. And the first thing I normally do is put a picture of my palette and list my paints. My memory is like Swiss cheese. I can't hold on to anything. So I will not know what these colors are if I don't write them down. I also put my date in the front. So this sketchbook runs from July 2018 to August 2019. Now, this was a urban sketching painting of the round barn in Arcadia. This was a terrible fast sketch of the sign, a close-up of the sign. My friend and I were out paddling. She was on a paddle board and I was in my kayak, and we stopped and painted each other under a shady branch. I am not good at figure painting. It's something I really want to practice this year. But I really love this picture because it was a great memory. It was so beautiful that day, and I failed to capture any of it, but that's all right. So these were also done on location. I am not good at location. That's another thing I need to practice. This is a cypress tree in Oklahoma City over by the Myriad Gardens. This building is near the Civic Center in Oklahoma City. This one's actually on the cover page of the Oklahoma City Urban Sketchers Facebook page. It also ended up in the Urban Sketchers magazine, which really surprised me. I was flipping through, it's a digital magazine. I was flipping through it, and it's like, that looks familiar. I didn't even recognize it as my own at first, but it is. These are sketches for a trip that I took to Minneapolis. And I took my sketchbook with me to Minneapolis, and this is the only thing I sketched that entire trip. I'm still working on sketching on location. I just can't get comfortable doing it. These are practice pages. I want to make this into a t-shirt with a saying about autumn. I love those trees. Some roses. Again, it's just practice. Whoops. More messy flowers. These can end up in a junk journal sometime. You can cut out just one. You can outline them with ink. You can further embellish and put them in a junk journal. This is just more mess. I really like these. These I was doing single roses, and I like the way the colors bled together. And then these I was practicing tulips and watching the colors bleed into each other. More roses, using gouache, which I am not very practiced with at all. And these two are loose watercolors. So I covered the page with water and then did the background image and put some salt on there. Then I let it dry. Then I painted the trees. And at the end, I even splattered a little bit of white. I think it was white gouache or even white ink. Same here. My tree got away from me a little bit, but this section's really good. And you could just cut it off and use this. You could even use that for a Christmas card or something. More tree practice. I was working a little more with less water to get more detail. This is acrylic. This was actually a class. I'm not super happy with this piece. And this is a gessoed page, so I could do another acrylic painting. And this was a gel print, like this page. And then this was a card that was given to me for my birthday, Life's Too Short for Sensible Shoes. And then I cut out shoes from a shoe catalog I had and made a page out of it. More rose practice. This is a view from my front porch. I've done this a few times. I've done it in drawings. I've done it in watercolor. This is me sitting in the very corner of my tiny front porch and looking out at my garden. These are iris practices, and I had a purple iris right here that ended up in another sketchbook as part of a mixed media. So you can take your practice pieces, either take a picture of them and print them out, cut them out of the book, scan them and print them out, and use them again and again. More iris practices. Got really fast and loose, and they look it. And here's a page of tulips. I really love the way the colors bleed together, so these two are really my favorites. And then I love to do just color studies. I usually do these in the Canson Excel books, but I've also used it in my sketchbooks. Just more color studies, brushwork. This picture is waiting for me to go over it with ink and pen to define it, and then it'll look much better. These are just brush exercises. You can take a pen if you want to use these in a journal page later. Just take a pen and just add some lines to it, make it loose. And you could cut that out and put it in a journal spread, like a junk journal or an art journal. And then here's some more messy flowers. So I also decorated the cover. This was from just a seed catalog, and this printing, the black was, you just hold up your paper. Be very careful. I'll hold it up over some water and just burn the edges, and you get that look. My next journal, I've also decorated it. This was a border for an ad in a National Geographic. This was a printout of a seed packet, and then just some moth. Again, this is a different palette. This was my Winsor Newton palette that I didn't like. I actually gave it away. And some more flowers. I really like my mushroom. And these were daylilies that were blooming at the time. More. This is the floral palette that I made myself. It's got more pinks and more yellows in it, rather than my landscape palette. This was a drawing of my pergola after it was built on my backyard. Very, very rough. Big, loose tulips. I know I can do something with these. More big, loose roses. I've made people birthday cards out of these roses. Leaf practice. I really like this. I like these roses. I made a better one out of acrylic paint. So you can practice for other paintings in your sketchbook. And I like both of these. These are purple cone flowers and Rudbeckia, black-eyed Susans. Some More brush stroke exercises. You do those to loosen up before you start to paint. Okay, this is some more urban sketching coming up. This was a trip to the Cowboy Hall of Fame. My favorite one's right here. It was a mock-up of somebody's art studio. I love my really loose portrait there and this guy. You can see it's a guy in a hat. That's all you can tell, but... And then a Conestoga wagon and some wood stove and a lamp, and those were fun to draw. Now I'm practicing with, this is oil pastel. You can tell it came off. So I have a couple of pages. Yeah, it's oil pastel as well. And the roses, I really like how soft they look. And here's some sunflowers with pastel, poppies with oil pastel, and a pansy. I never really pay attention to which side was up, you can tell. I love my daffodil. It's gotten a little bit smudged from the other page, but I love the colors you can get with pastels. These were some stencils. This was a spread for collage. This came out of a Belgian book that I have that I really like. And this crazy thing, this is seed catalogs, some printed stamped images. I took a picture of the Venus of Willendorf. It was a replica at a local museum, and I made many printouts of her because that's me right there with my wings. And my share collage. I found this one in a People magazine. This is a picture that I took at the Western Heritage Museum. It's a huge statue of a puma, and this is Anglo-Saxon or Viking ship head. And so I just put that together. I was inspired by Cher's red hair there. And that's it. That's my 2 sketchbooks. So this is proof, absolute proof that you do not have to be an artist to use a sketchbook. You do not have to be perfect to use a sketchbook. A sketchbook is a learning tool and a practice tool. So feel free to just open the page and mess it up. You know, there's plenty of ugly pictures in here, as you saw. So just practice. You will get better. And the good pieces that you find in there, you can cut out or copy and use in your own artwork elsewhere. So I hope this encourages you guys to also use a sketchbook. And an easy way to get started is just to draw your palette. Draw your palette and take note of what your paints are and what paint colors are. So that in, you know, when it's 5 years later, you'll know. These were both from 2018 to 2019. So they're really, I just grab whatever's handy. Sometimes I'm practicing in one and I set it aside to let it dry so I'll pick up the other one and put some more watercolor down. Then I'll switch back and forth. That's why these are both from the same time period. Anyway, that's all I have for you today. I wanted to encourage you to use your sketchbooks, even if you don't think you're good enough. Of course you're good enough. This is how you get better, is to use the sketchbooks and to practice. Thank you for following along, and please subscribe.